I miss them so much. I don't care what their belief systems are. I don't care how they identify, Republican, Democrat, Jew, Palestinian, Christian. It doesn't matter to me. What matters is that I really miss my family. And what's more important, being right about something you believe in, or being there and spending time in love and compassion?
Welcome to the Let's Be Real podcast, genuine conversations for authentic living. Hi, I'm Lisa Allshafer, empowerment life coach and author.
And I am Sondra Pariser, health and wellness entrepreneur and truth seeker and truth speaker.
And today's episode is about managing holiday stress. We are dressed for the season. We both got our red on.
Not even on purpose, Lisa.
I know we did not send each other a memo. So strategies for a joy-filled season instead of a stress-filled season.
Yes. And we thought that this would be so appropriate, mostly because we finished Thanksgiving in gratitude. And I'll speak more for myself. I have a very large family. I'm married with little children. Lisa, Eric's out of the house. So I'm already experiencing some of the pressures and the emotions that inherently come along with the holiday season. So we thought it would be really fun to just kind of share with you some tips and tricks on how to really get through it from a more joyful place than a stressful place. So also make sure you like, subscribe, share if you feel compelled. And by all means, please, please, please comment. I know we say this at the end of the podcast typically, but we should probably put it up front. We want to hear your thoughts and what moves you. And we really would like to engage with you. So like, subscribe, share, and Lisa, take it away.
All right. Well, the holiday season, there's a lot going on in the holiday season. A lot of things come together at the end of the year, and then you got the new year following that so quickly afterwards. And it's all about being merry and being joy filled and gratitude and all that. But yet it brings so much stress to so many people. And I think just that alone makes people feel like, well, I'm not supposed to feel this way during the holidays. And yet it happens. It's just, it does bring a lot of stress with it for a lot of different reasons. So today we're going to talk about the 5 top stress-inducing challenges of the holiday season and strategies to really overcome them. Mm-hmm. So really the first one is finances, the financial strain that the holidays can bring, because obviously there's gifts and there's, people hosting parties and there's travel and there's a lot of things that are going on financially at that time of year. I think at the top, top sales in the economy is happening at this time of year. So, but what happens if, you aren't in a state of abundance in your financial world at that time of year? I actually remember a time when I was coming out of my divorce, and which was, I think 25 years or so at this point in time. And I was, getting back on my feet and starting anew and all this type of stuff. I was actually living in my bedroom that I grew up in with my young son at the time. And he would have been about two years old at that time. He's 27 now. So that's how I can gauge the timeline. But what happened is shortly after I moved back home is that I had a kind of a whirlwind transition of a lifestyle at that time. And a company hired me. I was, again, living in my mom's bedroom, my old bedroom at my mom's house. And all of a sudden this company is flying me out to Las Vegas, which is actually how I got here. A whole nother story. But the point I'm making here is they brought me out. They paid for everything, a nice hotel. The first time I'd been to Vegas, I walk into the Venetian and I'm just in awe because they have an amazing lobby. I think they have one of the best lobbies. Well, Bellagio's pretty good too, but the Venetian is just so
beautiful,
extravagant.
Agreed.
Right. And that's where we were staying. And that was my first hit of Las Vegas, so to speak, from the airport to there. Anyway, so they were, the people in the company were gambling. And I remember we were sitting at a 3-card poker table, and that might have even been, one of the first times I had gambled or whatnot. But the CEO of the company was sitting next to me, and he was putting money in front of me for my bet. And because I didn't have money to gamble, and I ended up getting a royal flush in the 3-card poker, which is the highest hand you can have. And I walked away from that with $5,000.
Wow. I never knew this story. How
I know.
fun.
I've got so
Wow.
many,
Cool.
but yes. And so, but here was why I'm bringing it up, because it was in December. And I
Mm,
remember thinking to myself, because when the holidays were coming by, over those years, I was struggling financially. And it was the first Christmas in a long time that I didn't have to worry about buying gifts, because I had
oh.
that $5,000. So I know both sides of the both
Mhm.
sides of the equation, as you do, Sondra, as well, not having enough and then having more than enough and all that kind of stuff. So, but it can really be challenging on the financial front
Yes.
when it comes to
Yeah.
this time of first time of,
And
for this time of the year.
you and I have discussed this so many times, which is traditions in our family.
Mhm.
Um, my mom used to go all out. I mean, I grew up, my mom was amazing, is amazing at Christmas, but when we were, younger, teenagers really is when I started, when I really recall. And then through, my late teens and early 20s, and then it was just that way until, I got married and had another family. The tree would be so full of presents, all of them wrapped perfectly. And it just didn't matter what it was wrapped, right? And then we had these stockings, and the stockings all had lottery tickets, um and that was really extravagant. We didn't come from, an abundance of money where, I mean, that was, and it was just something that was so important for her to have this overwhelmingly full presence full of it. And it was something that, uh, I've taken that with me throughout my entire life. I love Christmas. I love all holidays. I love Hanukkah. We celebrate Hanukkah. We celebrate Christmas. If there's something to celebrate, I'm celebrating because, that's my personality.
Yeah.
But anyway, Christmas was one of those really special holidays for me. The older I grew, the more expensive things became. Like when I was a kid, we didn't have iPhones, iPads, laptops, computers. Like there really wasn't expensive gifts. I mean, an expensive gift when I was growing up was probably a pair of roller skates or, some famous fashion shoe or something, with a
Right.
label on it. Today, depending on where you're at, just kind of know where you're at. It's okay to give gifts. So as I progressed obviously in my business, and I'm so blessed with abundance in finances. And but even still, I changed our family traditions a while back because while I have an abundance financially, which I'm grateful for, I also very much respect that I don't ever want to send anybody I love and care about into a financial doom. So what we've started doing, and I did this with my sister and her kids, because we all have kids at the same age, which is amazing, and they're all girls. And what we've decided to do is actually do a gift exchange. So Aurora and Stacy Meal will go into their toys, and they will pick specific toys for them to send, and we will send them to my nieces. And that's just a tradition. It's a great way. I mean, our kids these days, and this kind of is an across the board thing with how expensive things are,
Yeah.
um, is that we don't typically spend a lot of money on gift giving, whether it's for their birthdays or whether it's for the holidays. We just don't, because I don't want that to be something that they feel like they have to do in their family moving forward. And giving gifts from the heart
Yeah.
is so cool. And let me tell you, the gifts, they love the gifts. So
Hmm.
that's just in depending on, of course, the ages of your children. Um, I would say, especially with finances, know where you are, set a budget, and honor that. And whatever the budget is, I always used to get oranges in my stocking. Oranges. I still don't know why my mom did that, but like, who cares about an orange? I think she wanted to just stuff the stocking full of stuff. So if that's kind of where you're at, underneath my tree, even still, just because I want it to look the way it did, the way that my mom made it look, I have boxes that are wrapped with nothing in them, just
Yeah.
so it looks that way. But it's really important. You don't want to
I
add
need to do
stress
that.
to an already stressful time.
Yeah, exactly. I need to put some fake gifts under my tree because it's just like nothing's underneath there right now. Anyway, it looks so barren. Yeah, and it's just me and Eric. So usually I get him a bigger gift. It's
Yeah.
whatever. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's kind of funny. But yeah, so budgeting, I think I mean, it's such a, straightforward thing. But I think by knowing what your budget is, it's going to bring less stress because if you're just like, oh my gosh, I got to get all these people, all these things, and you're just like spending money. So just
Mhm.
make a budget. And I love the gift exchange
Mhm.
um, strategy because at the office where my office is, Dr. Kwan, Q Wellness
Mhm.
and Family Centers, right? What she does is she does the gift exchange, right? The elephant
Mhm.
gift exchange,
Mhm.
white elephant gift
I
exchange.
love it. So
So
fun.
everyone isn't stressed about, I got to get everybody in the office something. It's just one gift, and then you do
Mhm.
the white elephant gift. I've been to yours.
Mhm.
I always get yours. It's so I love it. I still have it.
You always
The gifts I've
steal
got from you.
mine.
I
Like,
I strategize.
yeah,
That
right. I
was a
love it.
total strategy last time. Total strategy, but I ended up with it. I was meant to have it anyway. So that's good too, and just consider just doing DIY gifts as well.
Mhm.
I mean, I do a lot of, especially over the last couple of years, just because I was already getting into candle making, and I got a Cricut machine and things like that. So I personally like to make the gifts,
Yeah.
and they take a lot of time, but it just depends if I have the time, to do that.
And one of my
But
favorite things that is very inexpensive and yet I love, and you and I've talked about this in a prior podcast. I absolutely love holiday ornaments. So like
hmm
with pictures on it and then the year. Like so every
yeah,
year when I do my thing, and if this is your thing, I think it's just a great, and this is the gift that I plan on giving this year to the people I give gifts to, is something more personalized. I want the kids to pick it out. I have Stacy Mia drawing a piece of art because one of my dear friends, Corey, requested that. A hand drawn piece of art. She can do anything, but it has to be hand drawn. And
yeah,
so, and Stacy loves to draw. So we're gonna just little things like that. Like, would my mom and my stepdad appreciate that more than a gift?
mhm,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So
And I
choose
think
things that are sentimental.
Yeah. And I think too, this just popped in for me, and that is, a lot of times I think some people have an equivalency that they feel they need to meet. So someone might be able to afford a $500 gift or a $200 gift or a $100 gift, whatever it is. That doesn't mean you have to meet them at that level
Mhm.
of a gift back. And
Yeah.
I think that's actually pretty common for people. Oh my gosh, they got me this really nice gift. Now I need to give them a really nice gift. And if
Right.
it's not in your wherewithal to do that, it's not an obligation. It's just give them what you can. It's about the
Yeah.
thought, right?
Yeah.
Behind the gift.
Yeah.
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 Awesome.
So okay, I think we tackled that, and
Yep.
and another thing too. Wait, before we move on from that,
hmm
get a buy-in. Just like with me and my sisters, when we all had said, "Hey, you guys, let's just everybody save some money," and we all agreed at that time. Like we haven't been giving gifts to each other since we have gotten older. We would do one gift exchange at our family Christmas Eve party at my aunt's house,
Yeah.
which was always so much fun. They're just so much fun. But for the kids, just that way nobody spends any money. You're going to pay for it in shipping. But as long as you get, communication, and then also that's so important. Yes, there is no, because someone spends this much, you should feel like you have to
Right.
spend the same. I
Yeah.
think that most people, most Americans are deeply feeling inflation, and it is
Yeah.
a really weird thing. So, I mean, I was at the grocery store yesterday, and do you know what a little Carl is?
No.
Okay, so it's hot cocoa in the form of a snowman,
Mm.
and it's such a great gift, right? So you put milk,
Oh,
and then you
yeah.
you put the
I've
Carl in
seen those.
there.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't know
yeah,
that's
and
what they
the
were
thing
called.
dissolves, and it's so
Yeah.
I had it as a gift. A friend of mine had given it to the kids a couple years ago, and I didn't even know what it was enough to read the directions and actually
Mhm.
make it work. So the kids
Yep.
figure it out, right? So Aurora makes a Carl the other day and drinks almost none of it. And I go to the grocery store and I said, Aurora, she's like, can we get more Carls? Can we get more Carls? And I said, Aurora, that is $31.99 for you to not drink any of it. The answer is no. so
Yeah.
just anyway, communicate with your family, really important, or those that you give gifts to. And
Yeah.
anyway, it's so important because then nobody feels bad, which is what we want to eliminate, is any
Yeah.
type of hurt feelings throughout the already existing stressful time.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. So moving on to the second challenge, and that is family dynamics. Oh, yes. I'm almost wondering if that should be first.
I think that
So,
should have been
yeah.
first. Well,
Yeah.
they're not, these are not in order of what's
They're
most
not, yeah.
important for you, because
Yeah.
I will say honestly, this is the most tricky. Can I just take this real quick, cuz this is something that
Yeah.
is
Well, just let me give a little kind of a little
yeah, yeah, yeah.
substance around it because we have differing personalities, we have different belief systems, which I know in your family there's a lot of differing belief systems and things like that in your family, right? Unresolved issues, strained relationships, things that have been unresolved for potentially a lifetime, if not for years or whatever. Or there's recent disagreements and so forth, and here you are all coming together, and it can really cause some stress. So
Mhm.
anyway, go ahead,
Mhm.
Sondra.
Yeah, no, and again, like Lisa's saying, it depends on your own personal traditions, but this year it feels, I'll just speak really candid about this, which is why we thought this topic was really important, is because we're all going to struggle with it no matter where you are. Things are so different right now. um, we are all just, so I'll just speak for myself and my immediate family. We're here, we're in Texas, we're all alone. um, it feels very I don't want to say lonely. um,
Isolated.
Isolated,
Isolated.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because Lisa, like we go all out. We do big
Mhm.
parties and we have big events and we have tons of friends and family and friends who have become like family, and we don't have that here.
Yeah.
And
This is
so
actually going to be, we're going to tackle that too, as a challenge, but just
yeah,
to
yeah.
maybe
So
yeah.
yeah, because that I think is
Mhm.
is one of our last points. But
Mhm.
yeah, so we're feeling it. So then you enter into family dynamics, and it's like, okay, so we really want I really want my mom and my stepdad to come out here. They've got some health conditions, so we're like, okay, well maybe we'll go to California, and then it's like, oh gosh, go to California during the holiday season and the traffic and just and this goes into another bullet point, which is the time management piece too, that people need
Yeah.
to take into consideration. So
They're all
there's just
culminating together for you, except
they
for the
are.
financial one.
Yeah,
Yes.
so like
Yeah.
I miss my mom and my stepdad. I miss them terribly. And then there's my sister, and my family has just been ripped to smithereens over the last couple of years since my dad
Mhm.
decided to take up crystal methamphetamine in November of 2019. Since then, and even maybe a year prior to that, um, the political beliefs, the belief systems, everybody wants to stand and say they're right about so many things, and that the splinter in the family really hurt. It just hurt. And so there was a natural separation where my whole family kind of blew up at that time. And then, we just never came back together since. Not my mom and stepdad, but my sisters and my brothers and my siblings. So as it stands right now, I got one sister left, really. And so, oh God.
Hmm.
So I said to Alan, I said, I'd really like to invite Abe and Amy out, and the kids for Christmas. We'll fly them out. And Alan says, well, what will happen last time will happen again this time. And my sister and I got in this horrific fight And there was just, I didn't think we'd ever talk again. But I miss her so much. And I said to my husband, I said, but that will never happen again. We're not the same. I'm not the same. She's not the same. And so, right as I'm saying this, I'm processing it, right? I
Mhm.
miss them so much. I don't care what their belief systems are. I don't care how they identify Republican, Democrat, Jew, Palestinian, Christian. It doesn't matter to me. What matters is that I really miss my family. And what's more important, being right about something you believe in, or being there and spending time in love and compassion and um so what's more important? So the family dynamics is something worthy of a look. Do you feel like, you know for me, I don't what I believe doesn't matter. I just want to spend time, and I want to laugh and love.
Yeah. And that's, really looking at it from a place of prioritizing what's most important, right?
Right.
And that's what's most important to you.
Right. Right.
Put up, in the holidays, if we could just put that stuff to the side, put it in the
Right.
parking lot. You can revisit it if you want later. Put it in
Right.
the parking lot, and then just really get back into what really is the reason for the season, right? It's to prioritize what's most important, and really relationship is the
Everything
most important.
is
Yes.
everything. And that's
Yeah.
why we touched on this a little bit last week, which was putting our restraints on somebody else. Like if we get to this place where, I don't even know if my sister's watching. If it does, I love you so much. um
Mhm. Mhm.
I know for sure that her and I are in a completely different place for all sorts of reasons, but we also have lost so much family together. And
Yeah.
so I know she's feeling the same way I'm feeling, which is we don't have anybody else. There's nobody else. And so it really kind of forces you to value what you have. Um, but either way, I would call her as I invited her, and I would say to her, I miss you. I love you. Let's it, but we are already there, like our relationship is way more heart centered. Now, there's other family that we have that, and you guys might be in this situation too, where it's just not worth it because some of our family is really stick their hands in the sand, and they have decided that their particular belief structure is so important to them that it wouldn't even be a safe place emotionally to put yourselves in. So you kind of have to figure out, where the emotional impact. So if it just ends up it's just the four of us under this roof for the
Yeah.
holiday season, that's okay too.
Yeah.
It is okay too.
And that's really setting boundaries, right? It's setting boundaries with people, because just because you're going in and putting things in the parking lot doesn't necessarily mean they will, whoever they is of the family or friends or whoever it might be. And so therefore it's just, it's learning again how to do your best to neutralize the energy if someone is like that in your holiday people, right? Goes for any time of the year, but really, and to know, I mean, we all pretty much know people's hot buttons. Some people push them intentionally, and if they're trying to
Right.
push yours intentionally, just neutralize that as best you can, and just reroute, because
Yeah.
it's just they're looking for a fight, or they're looking to set their views straight with
Right.
everybody or whatever it is, and oh, I got everybody here now, I can really give them a piece of my mind, or whatever it is. I mean, hopefully you don't have too many of those, but they're out there, right? And
Yeah.
so it's putting that to the side to the best of your ability, and then just and I think this is another important piece, is to have a place that you can go, like a if you know you're coming up against somebody like that at the
Yep.
holidays, Uncle Bob or Aunt Shirley or whoever it is, you know, whoever that
For
person
them.
might be in your world, is just have a little bit of a pre-plan because you already know that that's where they're going to go or whatever the case might be, and maybe just kind of prepare yourself a little bit before you go into there, not to engage in escalating it, but how can you de-escalate it. And one way that you can do that is like having a neutral zone. So if it's at Aunt Shirley's place, and if Aunt Shirley and Uncle Bob or whoever it is are a couple, then you got a double whammy there, and they're going to feel a lot more comfortable in their own home to to share whatever they feel, because it's our home, we can say whatever we want or whatever. Again, I'm talking about difficult people, and so then maybe pick a different place to have a get together or a gathering. And even if that's not possible, then you strategize with whoever you're coming with. If you're not coming with somebody, then you got to strategize on your own. But okay, well, if this starts to happen, we're going to move to this subject, right? If
Yeah.
you're with somebody, and if this starts to happen, you're just going to do whatever you need to do, excuse yourself, whatever. If it's in your home, then you can have your little, like, if someone's getting out of whack, then Ellen, you take over, and I'm going to go off into this room and just kind of settle or whatever the case might be, right? So that you're tag teaming you're you're helping each other out and as support when you've got a difficult person to work with or
Yep.
people to work with during that time. Hopefully that's not the case for too many, but again, it happens. That's why this is one of the bigger ones that is in there. Now, if you have somebody who's kind of in the in between, right, who maybe there's some challenge in the relationship, or there's this ongoing resistance, this ongoing kind of strain that's been in a relationship, but they're maybe not like that super difficult person, is just practice active listening and empathetic listening.
Yes.
Is be put on the ears more than the mouth and see what
Right.
happens, because oftentimes that can really start to shift that energy. And even if it's just, you got a short term goal,
Yeah.
holiday season, now this would be good to do ongoing, but ultimately you can just put on, use your ears. What do they say? You've got two ears and one mouth because you should be using them twice as much.
Mhm.
And that might be helpful to those kind of an underlying tension that might exist with people in your family.
Yep. And or I mean, even another thing that Alan and I are bumping up against, and again, it depends on where you're at. Um, Kind of literally, geographically, have you made a move? Is your family still around? Are they, a distance away? What does that look like for, everybody's going to have a little bit of a different circumstance, but whether they're in your backyard and it's traditions that you've had your whole life or that you created as adults, it's also okay to change traditions. Um, the stupid elf on the shelf, ours is named Kisses, hasn't moved since December 1st. So Alan and I are sitting there like, are we done with this tradition? Right. So and maybe we just decide that we're going to change our family traditions, and that's okay too. And I think that, as we talk about whether it's family dynamics or the financial component, like everybody's dealing with a different set of circumstances, and the world has so dramatically changed. And I
Yeah.
think all of our feelings in general are a little more we're sensitive. We're far more sensitive um, because we've all lost so much. And this division, which is why, Lisa, you and I are here in the first place, the division that is felt when you're talking about, just any Republican and Democrat, or, Black Lives Matter, or just pick anything, right?
Yeah.
Lately,
Yeah.
the war in Israel and the people, it's like all of these issues can just send people into an emotional tirade. And so, depending on where you're at, if you can handle that by, again, just kind of listening, right? But for me, at least, I know that even though we don't have um, relationships the same way we did in Vegas, maybe this year we'll change them. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's okay to do that, everybody, too. take something you've done for years and years and years, as long as your kids have been alive, and it's okay to change it. So
Well, and to just spend time with the family again, we kind of maybe leave that a little bit to when we get to another challenge, which is loneliness and isolation, but that's coming. And
yep.
I think that would be a good time to maybe talk about that, your family being so experiencing it so differently than you have in the past,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the third challenge is time management and overcommitment.
Ha,
So here you guys are again, you guys always have a lot going on.
right.
And so now this year is going to be different, for you. But it can come with, I mean, like especially for you guys, traveling and parties and events and holy moly, it just can be a
Mhm.
whole lot of stuff going on. And then there's a lot of feeling of obligation, kind of like with the gifts, well, they gave me this, $500 gift. I got to give them. It's like, heck no.
Yeah. Right.
They did
No.
that great. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, but it's recognizing that's, I mean, time management and overcommitment is all these things are existing outside of the holiday
Mhm.
season, but the holiday season really brings it into an amplified state. So if you can really use the holiday season as a way to tackle some of these things that you actually contend with throughout the rest of the year, why
Mhm.
not
Yeah.
really use that intense energy of the holidays when stress really can be at its
Mhm.
heightened state to really figure out some really healthy strategies to deal with all the time if you
Right.
are someone who overcommits and has a difficulty with time management. And really the first thing to deal with that is really prioritizing.
Mhm.
You know, if you look at who are the most important people that I know I want to spend time with at the holidays, right? And then there's that inner ring, if you will.
Mhm.
Obviously,
Yeah.
family is going to be, at least the immediate family is going to be the core. And then you have, whatever, maybe either friends or family that kind of exist in the second ring out. And you just want to make sure those are covered for if that's right for you, right? And then you start to go out to, okay, the third ring, fourth ring, whatever, acquaintances and all these people, good friends, but you got to make sure you cover this inner circle first before you start to go out into these higher ones. And if so it's kind of like the you know um uh there's a what I don't know what you would call it, I guess, an analogy where you have like a jar, and it's all about priorities. This is a
Mhm.
priority analogy. And so if you start off and you have big rocks, right? And you put rocks in the jar, and then you fill it up to as many big rocks as you can get.
Mhm.
And then, like, can you get any more in? And like, if you're
Mhm.
talking to students, can you
Mhm.
get any more, fit any more in here? No, it's full. Is it? And then you start to bring in
Yeah.
some pebbles, and then you put
Yeah.
pebbles into the
And then
into
and
the
then you
jar.
cement it with the
And then that
sand.
fills, yeah, well, yeah, let me it's like telling the end of the joke, right?
I know. Well, oh,
Okay.
and you were so
Uh,
close.
yeah, I know. Well, that's the
Yeah.
yellowness. Anyway, so can you fit, is it full? Yes, it's full. And then you bring in the sand,
Mm.
and then you fill it up with the sand, and then now you're full. But if you put in the sand first, you're not going to have room for the big rocks, and you're not going to have room for the pebbles. The big rocks are the first priorities, the pebbles are the next level of priorities, and the sand are the last priorities. And so you want to, really put your rocks in first and make sure there's enough room to fill in your schedule with what's most important, and then bring in the pebbles and then bring in the sand.
I didn't give away the
Damn you,
total
Sondra.
end. I'm like, "Oh, I know this one. I know this one."
Yes, yes, yes.
Um,
Okay.
so but that is, I mean, that's an analogy for life for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
And there's, here we are, we're already, Christmas is going to be over before we even know it. The holiday season will be done before we
Uh-huh.
even blink our eye or you're listening to this podcast. But it is time management. Um, it kind of, there's a double-edged sword here. I in a good way, as we're even kind of working through all of this and the emotions of the holidays, is that there's really only a handful of Saturdays in the month of December. Most of us have 9 to 5 jobs and our kids are in school. And just in the nature of where Christmas lands this year, at least for anybody that has, school age kids or kids in college, like, Christmas is on a Monday. So that whole week leading up to Christmas, and I love it this way, right? Because like you can get so much done while we're waiting for, because Christmas isn't on a Thursday or, on a Saturday or even a Sunday. It's on a Monday. So we get to go all the way through this. And so instead of it being, 2 days, like we're blessed enough that it can be, more of a organized and not so chaotic time management, right? For the parents, and we just can kind of work our way through it. But there's only so many, overcommitment. If you again really kind of know where you're at, emotionally, and don't take on more than you can chew. And one thing that I will say, just because I throw parties a lot, or I used to,
Yeah.
um,
Mhm.
is that don't say you're going to be there and not show up.
Mm.
Just don't. That will hurt you more than you think that it will. So, when you say yes, obviously bearing that you get sick, or we were talking about showing up late and being chronically late. Um, but, honor where you're at, so that if you, don't say you're going to be somewhere and not show up. It doesn't even matter if it's your parents' house, like on Christmas Eve or
Well,
Christmas Day.
especially in your parents' house. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, if you just really don't feel like you can make it, honor that too. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
But don't say
And
you're
that's
going to.
about, yeah. And that's about learning to say no, which is a
Yes.
strategy, learning to say no. But how many people do we know, including myself, at least at one point in time?
Mhm,
Again, this where the people pleasers come in. They just want to say yes because they'll feel bad if they say no, but
mhm,
learn to say no.
mhm.
Here's a little bit way you can give yourself that breathing room to give yourself the allowance is don't say yes and then not show up like you said. Say, you know what, let me get back with you on that. So you're not doing an immediate yes,
Mhm.
because the knee jerk reaction is just to say, yeah, I'll be there. And then, it might not work out that way. Is to say, I think I'm not sure I'm able to come, but if anything changes, I'll let you know. Or I think I have something going on that day, but if something changes, I'll let you know. That way
Right.
you're not obligated to get back with them if you don't really want to put that in your, in
Yeah.
your schedule to have to do. And so there's ways to politely decline without just a straightforward no, right? You're not just
Right.
going, no, I'm not coming. It's just,
I got something
it
else
gives,
going on is the easiest
yeah.
way to
Yeah.
always say it. I'm
And if
so
but
sorry.
if you're, yeah, either you do or I've got something going on that day, but if you're kind of in that in between state and you haven't fully decided yet, then you can say, "Well, I'm not sure. I'll have to check my schedule, but if I can come, I'll let you know." I mean, say it whatever way it comes out, but that's basically what you're doing is you're not giving a yes in the moment and you're giving yourself time to process and decide, is this a priority for you?
Yeah, I've gotten really, really good at that over time. The
Yeah.
hardest was always my family. The holidays were
Mhm.
always because there were so many things that I'd want to do, and I'd feel committed to my mom's side of the family. Then oh gosh, then I had my dad's side of the family, and like there was just so much family. And we're not in that situation anymore. But that's the family dynamic, and that's the time management piece. Like honor where you're at always. And there's a gentle way to say, I can't make it for whatever reason, but you know, you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, but you definitely
Mhm.
don't want to put yourself in a situation that you're not going to be comfortable with.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
What we
and
got
then
next?
that goes also to just one more thing about that is schedule your own downtime, your own self-care time.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Because there is more amplified energy during this season, the holiday season, right? You want to make sure that you're replenishing your energy source, you're replenishing your what you need to move through this season, with the energy that you really want to be fueled by, not
Yeah.
stress energy, but just natural energy that you get by replenishing and refreshing and giving yourself some rejuvenation downtime. whatever that looks like for you. It could be meditation, it could be a massage, it could be just alone time.
Sometimes it's
For
just
some
getting on the
people,
phone
that's
with a
yeah,
friend. Sometimes it's
yes,
just getting on the phone
yeah,
with a friend,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, for
talking it
sure.
out. Yeah.
Yep. Which
Okay.
also is another strategy for the next one, which is the one we keep referring to, and that's loneliness and isolation.
Mhm.
Right. So this is where we can really expand on the opportunities that are
Yep.
right for you right now and the
Yep.
family and everything is through that, because you're not necessarily loneliness, but you are missing,
Mhm.
you are missing your family, and you are more isolated because you now live in a state that, you
In the
went,
middle of the
it's
country.
been 2 years ago at this point, right? 2 years
Yeah.
ago you moved to Texas. Yeah.
Yep. Right
And
right
so,
after on the 26th of December 2 years ago,
yeah.
we started packing it up and away we went.
Yeah. And, some people don't even have family. Some people are really alone
Mhm.
at this time of year. And this, actually, I believe, I don't know the statistics. I'm just pulling this in now, but I believe this is a highly depressive time of year for people as well,
And it
because
is in
you're,
general, like our suicide rates are through the roof.
yeah.
And, thank you COVID for so many things, but not for that. People are, again, Lisa, why you and I are here is now the holidays are, I think the holidays are typically the highest uh, suicide month. Um, but you take that and then you add on to it where we're at in general. And I just actually had I was talking to a dear friend last night who, um, her really good girlfriend lost her sister to suicide, who had two kids, and um, which is just like, wow, it is so heart wrenching. So, what a perfect topic to talk about right now. Yes,
Mhm.
managing your
Mhm.
emotions and getting to the heart of how you're feeling.
Yeah. And, too, it's recognizing a lot of people don't want to talk about their feelings during the holiday because they shouldn't. It's a time of, joy and celebration and all that. So they feel like they're going to be the bummer, the,
Yeah,
bringing down the season if they talk about what they're actually feeling.
right.
And so it's important that, no, this is a time that, you want to be reaching out. If you have someone to reach out to, which most people have someone to reach out to, but not everyone has someone to reach out to. But if you do have someone to reach out to that person
Hmm.
and talk to them about what you're really feeling. Don't put on the happy
Hmm.
merry face because that's what you think you should do. Just be honest and say, I'm struggling right now, with my own isolation and my own loneliness,
Right.
and I feel like I'm just, an island out here and everyone else is together. And actually there's a lot of little islands, out there going on. And so it's important to reach out, and even attending like community events or going to church or going to the synagogue or going to wherever you might go, even if you don't normally go, maybe just a touch point for you that's needed during that time.
Hmm.
I know that might be a little bit more of a stretch for people, but ultimately it is a possibility to go to some sort of a community event. And then also, to, if you really feel like you just don't have anybody in your world, then, sometimes that's where social media is not always a good place to be. But it depends, it depends on where you're at in life, and, having some sort of a connection, through the technology, whether it's, I mean, even the games, I know for, the video games right now are so, they've got pros and cons, right? But they do have pros. And I think that's one of the pros. We've become more isolated, especially for the younger generation. So many are creating friendships through video games.
Hmm.
And so we don't want to poo poo the whole darn thing. We don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, right?
Right.
We want to recognize there are some pros to this. And
Yeah.
for those who are maybe more introverted and maybe just aren't very, out in
Outgoing.
making friends, and that
Yeah.
it is actually human connection, even though it's through the world of video games and technology, it is still connection. Is it the
Absolutely.
healthiest possible connection? Probably not, but at
Right.
least it is connection. And
Yep.
so that's also another, way
Well,
to
and
kind of move
if
through this.
you really are struggling, and Lisa, you and I were just talking about this earlier today. I I have a channeler I work with every week. I
Mhm.
just every week, because
Yep.
not that I'm struggling, just that I'm really trying to make sense of this experience here. And and so it's really important to me to spend the money on the self-care. To me, it's the thing that I think personally everybody should have somebody that they talk to on a professional level. um just because this game of life is really, really hard. So if you're really struggling, give a gift to yourself and find somebody to talk to, because it'll pay you in spades. And
Yes.
you will, I mean, at least for me, okay, so it's loneliness, it's, I'm literally isolated from, my friends and family, but but I'm not, I'm not. I do miss my family very much. And so it's that time of the season that, or the time of the year that through the season that you reflect a lot. And I've had a lot to reflect on. This has been, for
Yeah.
me personally, the year of massive radical shifts and changes inside of me. So it's good for me um to express it, and we're all feeling it. But anyway, I say give the gift. If you're really, really struggling, just find somebody to talk to, because you know what, life is worth living, finding our purpose. That's why we're
Yeah.
here, and we're all
Yeah.
here for a reason. So
Yeah. And even
um
in your circumstance this year about, it's the four of you. Is it the four of you, or is your mother-in-law there?
she's back in Vegas.
Okay,
Yes.
so it's
Yeah,
just the four of
it's the
you.
four of us.
The
Yeah.
four of you. Yeah. So when is the have you ever have you ever done the holidays with just the four of you before?
Nope. Mm-mm.
So I look at this as such a beautiful opportunity
To create new traditions.
to create, yeah, like you were saying,
Yeah.
to create new
Yeah.
traditions, but just to have the experience of just the four of you
Mm.
without all the hullabaloo
Yeah.
around you.
Yeah.
And it may come out as I'm looking forward to hearing, how it goes and so forth, because I think it's beautiful. I think it's
Yeah.
wonderful, because knowing you, and for those of you who obviously don't really know us that well, anyway, you throw parties, you throw the grand parties, right? And the funny thing is, and I don't know if I've shared this with you, but I know I've shared it with, I don't know who it was, maybe Terry or somebody, but anyhow, I'm a the personality type that I love one-to-one conversations. I love small gatherings and intimacy, right? That's the blue
Mhm.
personality, which is from the color code. And so you're the yellow. So you're like, party on. The more people, the better. Right. Which is kind of funny. So our relationship clearly is very close, but it's
Yeah.
close not because of those parties, because I
No.
barely talk to you at your parties. I find another blue like Terry
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah.
and we kind of gravitate towards
Mhm.
each other most of the time. I think she's a blue personality too, right? And we
Yeah.
just have this great conversation, and you're off, you know, doing your
Floating
thing at the
around.
party. That's right. And so it's kind of funny, but yeah. So this is a very different, for you as well, just on that level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was something Alan actually did bring this up. He says, why don't we have a party? And I'm like, but I don't want to,
Uh-huh.
because I've turned more into what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I when I'm around people, I want to have more of a connection
Yep.
than, I am changing. So yes, this might just be a very beautiful gift from universe to have a quiet new building new traditions. And
Mhm.
interestingly enough, so the first day of Hanukkah is Thursday, and my aunt and uncle on my dad's side, so my dad's brother, who I love and adore them. My family is very well, and I'm older, and things happen. So um they moved here. They're 2 hours north, and my cousin's here, and her kids, and so we're actually starting something new, which is we're going to make pasta together. And my aunt is so awesome, because I'm really interested in like documenting my ancestry, my family, right? My family it's fascinating. I'm a daughter of the American Revolution and all these things. So this will be a fun thing. So we're going to do pasta and latkes.
Mm.
And my aunt's going to bring, all of our pictures and some of our our timetables. And so this weekend I get to spend time, which is, I'm so excited just to spend time with my
Yeah.
family in a close, intimate scenario, not the big,
Yeah.
let's throw a party. I wonder if I'll ever get back there. Anyway,
Well,
okay, bullet point
it
number.
doesn't have to be one or the other. It just can be that
Yeah,
combination, you know?
yeah,
So now
but
you
it
get to
doesn't.
get on one side of the spectrum to see how that feels to you, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I do like the closer, intimate relationships. I value that more today than I've ever valued that before. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anywho, okay,
Well,
take it away. What's number 5?
okay, so number 5 is health and wellness challenges. So I can speak to this one. I think you can as well, but you know, I started eating differently back in June, I believe. June or July, I can't remember. I think it was July. Um, so it's been a while now, and I completely cut out sugar, and I cut out mostly carbs. I went mostly carnivore, but kind of brought in some things. So I guess you could say keto carnivore-ish type eating, and it has been amazing. I mean, I've lost I've lost so much weight. I'm not even trying. Well, I'm not really trying to lose weight. I was actually doing it just to eat healthier
Mhm.
because I'm going to be turning, the big 6-0 next year. And I want to just, I'm
Dang, Lisa,
really,
you're getting old, lady.
whew, yeah. So it's, the years are coming whether you want them to or not.
Well, and
And
age is just a
just,
number. You and I
yeah,
both agree the number one thing is how we physically feel.
yeah. In our
And
mind and how we are and how we view
yep,
it and all
yep.
that. So, but I did know that I've been pretty healthy most of my life. And, I've been healthy I
Yeah.
have been healthy all my life. There was a few little things that popped up. One after your party at Christmas, and my
You're
appendix went
always
off.
gonna blame me for the
Yeah,
hospital visit.
yeah. Days later, I'm in the emergency room, and I was there for 9 days over Christmas. So that's a whole nother way to spend Christmas,
Right.
or the holidays, right? Is I was in the hospital on Christmas because I had my appendix removed. So that was back in 2019, I believe. And anyway, so there's just been something like that's done, that you don't revisit that one. That one's out of the body.
Body.
But the gallbladder has kicked me into the emergency room twice now over the a year ago or so. And so I just was like, okay, things are going to start to happen. And all this, because I was a chocoholic, from the moment I came out, where's the chocolate? from my mom, where's the chocolate? I mean,
Oh,
chocolate's
dear.
always been one of my big things, and sugar, that kind of stuff. So anyway, so this whole way of eating has really changed a lot. I mean, I've lost, I think, 18 pounds. I didn't even know I had 18 pounds to lose,
I didn't either.
and I'm not trying to lose weight. Like, okay, let's bottom out here because I'm not really wanting to lose any more weight. But it's just my body's kind of finding its, I guess, where it needs to
Homeostasis.
settle in,
Yep.
right? But again, it's removing the sugar and a lot of the carbs. And this is right for me. I'm not saying that I'm not promoting this. I'm just saying this is what I'm doing. Okay. And so anyhow, so now the holidays are coming, and well, the holidays are full of carbs and sweets. I mean, come on, right? So I'm still evaluating how I'm going to handle that, because I know for me, and this is something that I've learned through this process, is that there are moderators and there are abstainers. And I'm an abstainer. If I start to bring in stuff like sugar, it
Mm.
actually kicks off things in your physiologically, right,
Mhm.
in your system, that starts to now go, oh, we've had a bite. It's like alcohol, right? It's an
Yep.
addiction.
It's
Like
a there's a
one drink
chemical reaction
one
for
drink
sure.
can lead you
Yep.
off the wagon or
Mhm.
whatever. Well, the same thing can happen with sugar. So I'm really like, I'm not sure I'm even going to have any. I'm not sure I'm even going to indulge in any
Mhm.
of that. We'll see. I did have a dessert way back when, and it didn't really. I was okay with it. I
Mhm.
didn't like kick me into anything, but I'm also pretty aware that I've got that pretty strongly in my background.
Mhm.
So for me, probably abstaining is going to be the right thing
Easier.
for me. But it doesn't mean it's going to be right for everybody. For some, it's just moderation.
Well, and I do want to tackle. because the holidays are so riddled with alcohol, and
Mhm.
I know for sure that is the most abused drug in the entire country, world,
Yeah.
probably, right? It's legal and it's easy and it's accessible and it's, and it's alcohol. Um, and there is no judgment coming from me because I've gone every which direction with it. Um,
Mhm.
I spent 13 months in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous in my 20s. So, and I play full out at everything. So, I worked the steps and I got a sponsor and 90 meetings, 90 days. And, I did the deal. Um, and so really alcohol too. So whether it's food or alcohol, especially if, like, you've decided to make this was a lifestyle change. This wasn't a fad, right? Even when I did my 21-day detox, that was at the end of it all. Like, for you were going for a lifestyle change. You really want it, and you're playing around with a program, you're playing around with your body, you put your body
Yeah.
through a science project. And now that you found this balance, the benefit was 18 pounds. That seems like so much weight.
I
Did you
know.
get
I
did
know.
you get
It's
a whole
crazy.
new wardrobe?
I did. I had
Wow.
to go through 2 transitions. I would buy a pair of pants and then they started to get loose on me. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I gotta go down to this," which is fun. That's actually the fun part of losing weight because I'm
Yeah.
wearing I'm at my kind of my lowest I was in high school, and I'm wearing the same Levi jeans, size, right? 27-32, which was when I was, and I had an eating disorder back then.
Wow.
So, in high school. So,
Yeah.
I that's long gone. It's nothing I worry about today, but as far as kicking that back in, that's resolved.
Great.
But so now it's just my body's actually naturally going down there.
Yeah.
And it's like when I
Well,
put those
yeah, where it
27
balances out.
jeans on, I was like, holy mackerel, this is
So awesome.
crazy, but how fun is this? And then I'm getting, new pants. And I mean, I can't even mind. I can't, I'm swimming anything else now. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me. I mean, I can't
Yeah.
even believe it. And then I
Yeah.
got new,
I mean, well,
shirts.
for you, it's what your body did with it. For me, it's smoking. I don't know how long I'm going to marvel at the fact that I smoked my entire life, but I have zero. It's like, would I pick up a cigarette and light it? No, not even. It's not even in. But I'm like you and chocolate, right? Like,
Mhm.
you're not going back there again. And so,
Yeah.
but if you are struggling with an addiction, right, of any kind, food, alcohol, whatever it is, first of all, we've
Yeah.
already talked about this, don't judge it. But with the holidays and alcohol especially, and I will speak to all my friends who have given up alcohol right now, and I have a handful of people who have done that. The holidays can be extra tricky, so really know where you're at. And if you just can't go to holiday parties this year, then don't, and the people that do decide to, food's one thing, of course, alcohol is another that can really, really, that people struggle with. So, during the holidays, if you need to abstain, just abstain from food or from alcohol or from parties that have alcohol if you don't feel like you can stick with a personal decision that is truly enhancing your life. It really will enhance your life to put, um, specifically alcohol and or drugs. I guess I'll kind of chunk all of that in the same thing. um, the holidays will make something like that extra challenging or difficult, or however you want to put it. But
Yeah.
just know where you're at. Look at where you're
And
at.
you and and you can have a support person if if you're
Oh,
going
yeah.
with somebody, just say,
Yeah.
"Hey, if you see me and you kind of see if you're going for the moderation, if
Yeah,
you're going
yeah.
for the moderation, then you can say, if you see that I'm starting to tip it and I'm not really being conscientious around what I'm
Yeah.
putting in, whether it's food or whether it's alcohol, whatever,
Yeah.
just kind of give me a gentle, I'm giving you permission, give them permission
Yes.
to tap me on the shoulder, to just give
Yep.
me a gentle little you can have a word that you use, or just love you babe or whatever, but
Yeah.
you have a
Yeah.
so that other people don't really know what's going on, if that's what's necessary. And
And you
then
know
you're
what?
just
Alan and I
you
Alan
support.
and I did that. Alan, you actually told me, God, this is like years ago, it was such a great thing. You got to ask for permission. And then when
Mhm.
they say, "Hey, you're going over you're going a little over, calm it down." You have to give them grace and listen. And it
Mhm.
is absolutely something that works
Yeah.
if you work it. So but yeah, there's a difference between if you're moderating, then moderate. If you're abstaining, you
Mhm.
probably want to abstain because it's all so emotional
Yeah. If
anyway.
you're not sure, then probably better to abstain than to
Yeah.
try to moderate. That's where we
Yeah.
can get in trouble, is the
And even
moderation.
even just get your buy-in from your partner to say, "Hey, you know what? I really want to go to this party, but I want to stay committed to not drinking or whatever." And and just so you're again, this is a situation where we over communicate
Mhm.
everything, right? Like it's just about relationships over communication, and it really will, you'll stick to your goals. And we're bumping up against New Year's, so you and I'll talk about New Year's resolutions. I personally
Mhm.
don't believe in them, because I think if
Mhm.
you're going to make a resolution, you make it, I'm not going to wait till January 1st to quit smoking.
Mhm.
No. Like I did it in the time that I needed to do it. And whether it's drinking, smoking, food, you know
Mhm.
this whole process of the game of life is about writing this through and feeling good about who we are. And
Yeah.
yeah, in
Well,
yeah.
and so, one of the common things that people start in the New Year's resolutions is exercise.
Oh yeah.
So, so I can speak on this one as well because I started walking, which really helped with my energy. I was
Hmm.
getting a little stuck and stagnant. So I started walking every morning, and then it got cold. And then I'm like, "Uh-oh, we gotta find an alternative here." Although I'm having to go in the middle of the day, and as anybody knows, I would get up and I would go right first thing in the morning, but now it's like 40 degrees, and I'm like, "I don't think so." But, so I gotta go to the middle of the day, which leaves a lot more room to reroute that, but the holidays can do the same thing.
Hmm.
So you might not be able to be as strict as you maybe normally are on your activity routines, your exercise routines, but don't let them completely fall to the wayside because it's that much harder to get back into them. There is a I can't remember what it's called, but like there's a book written about it. Never go more than 2 days off on what you're committed to.
I'm
Something
already
like that. Yeah.
struggling with that. I went back to the
Yeah.
gym, and then my tennis team ended up making it to the playoffs.
Hmm.
And so tennis is one thing, right? But it's not going to the gym. I need to exercise all the other muscles so that I don't get injured again. Like it's not
Yeah.
about, like I can run around it. So I'm struggling with the same thing. I'm like, I just have to put it in my cat. So tomorrow is Tuesday, and I'm gonna go play my tennis. And okay, so but when am I gonna go back to the gym? And because I did marathon tennis over the weekend, I have to go get adjusted and get my hip, and then, but you're right. You're right. You know what? Something really to pay attention to is, yeah, whatever you've committed to, and it's okay. You know what? It's okay. Just start doing it again. Whatever
Yeah.
it is, just pick it back up, and then get back in the rhythm. And I know for me, especially, like, all I have to do is go to one class, and boom, all the endorphins kick in, and it's all of a sudden all the good chemicals start flowing through my neurological system, and I'm like, "Oh, this feels so good. Okay, I'll
Yeah.
go tomorrow." And
Well, and that reminds me of there's a great book called Atomic Habits by James Cleary. So it's a really beautiful book. It's so practical. That's why I love
yeah.
it. It's so practical. And when some of the things that he talks about is if you're having a hard time getting to the gym or doing the put your walking clothes or your exercise clothes out the night before.
Yep.
Every little thing helps to get you moving in the direction you want to go.
Hmm.
And then if that doesn't get you, then put them on, and then whatever. So it's just kind of moving into start moving towards the things that you need to do in order to finally get there. And
Hmm.
sometimes just putting your exercise clothes out the night before is
Hmm.
enough to get you there.
Right.
So, don't underestimate these smaller things. That's why it's called atomic habits, right? Don't underestimate these smaller things because they all add up to a big result. Usually it's the smaller things that add up, that
Hmm.
compounding effect on these smaller things that we can set ourselves up to succeed with.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
And so with that, I just want to say, I want everybody to have really the best season.
Yeah.
And, as we go through this, we're doing this thing, this human experience together. And we really are. And we're all feeling a lot of the same feelings, which is
Mhm.
amazing. So I wish
Yeah.
you a very happy holiday season. Thank you for your friendship. It means the world.
Well, and I feel the same. So thank you
Mhm.
for that. Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
And to
And to
everybody
know that
out there, did you want to say anything?
yeah, just, what we've laid out, these aren't all of the stresses. You're going to have your own
No.
experience, and some of these might work for you, some of them might not. But do find strategies. That's the important thing. We've laid out, quite a few today to be able to kind of get you started if you haven't been thinking in that way. But find what works for you, but find something that works for you. And strategies is always a good way to being prepared is much better than being caught blindsided, during these times. And so set yourself up for success by putting some of these into action. So, yeah. And I'll just say, I'll let you finish it out, but, thanks for joining us. And, all just remember that it's the reason for the season is more important than all of the other things like the gifts and all that kind of stuff. It's the love that you have in your life, the relationships,
Mm-hmm.
as we truly value our relationship and
Yeah.
love each other, and that extends out to our immediate families as well. But we, in the way that we can from here is, love you too,
Mm-hmm.
and are connected to you. It's just in a different kind of way. And
Yes,
we hope that you experience more love and connection throughout the holidays. And we hope we
absolutely.
can help in some way to be able to do that.
Absolutely. And we would love to hear your stories in the comments below and, something that moved you or just, how is it going? How is it going? So, all right, everybody. Well, we will see you all next week and have
Mhm.
a beautiful December.